Hi, this is Rob O'Byrne, founder of Supply Chain Leaders Academy and Supply Chain Leaders Boardroom. With me today I've got Simon Bowen, who's one of the partners who's helping us with our Supply Chain Leaders Boardroom programs. And Simon, I was just talking to you a moment ago about a discussion I had with a third-party logistics managing director the other day. And it was really interesting because he's come from an IT background and now he's running this operation which had a lot of issues when he took over. He's turned it around and the people are now engaged and on board and it's really going well. And I said to him, you know, what are some of the priorities and how did that change? And it was really interesting because he said, look, for my last career, if you like, I was an IT manager and it was all about getting the process right and the systems. Now he says it's absolutely on its head because we've achieved this by getting the right people on board, getting the right mindset, getting the right levels of engagement, which has taken an enormous amount of effort. And he said following that, with that engagement, we've improved the processes and only then have we started to overlay the right systems. And you know, that really stuck in my head and I'm thinking, and this is kind of what we promote at the Supply Chain Leaders Academy as well, that good supply chain management these days is really all about people.
Yes.
The other stuff follows. And at the Academy we're doing a lot of personal development topics in our programs. We're doing a lot of team management, and the feedback that I get is those are the topics that the members want so much. So do you see a shift? Because we're getting away from, I think, for good managers, we're getting away from technical understanding and systems understanding to actually understanding people much better. And I think we're putting a lot more demands on our people at all levels in the organisation. And I see that really good supply chain managers these days and supply chain directors are not technical people at all. They're people who have a really good business understanding, but a deep understanding of people.
Yes. Well, in every field, I do a lot of work with CEOs and senior executives and right down through the layers of leadership in organisations, and in every field, it's always about the people. I work with Australian sporting teams as well, and a number of state-based sporting teams, and elite performance is a human quality. It's not a technical quality. The game plan can be a game-winning game plan, but it will be the people that execute it. And so when you think about people engaged in any kind of meaningful activity, people come to the table with different zones of ability, so everyone has their competence zone. That's the stuff that you can do. You might need a bit of help every now and again, but it does feel clunky when you're doing it, and time, it takes forever. It feels like it's dragging on. Then you have things that are inside your expert zone. You're really good at it, and you don't need help, and you produce great results from it. But it does still feel a little bit like work, and you do get fatigued from it, but you will produce great results. And then there's this third zone, which is your genius zone. That's that body of work, or that's that capability that you have that's a part of your uniqueness. It's when you're totally in flow, you even lose time. You don't get tired when you're doing it because it's right in your sweet spot. And if you think about the average organisation, where does the typical job description form place people?
The obvious question that's come to mind is that sounds totally logical and sensible. How do you do that in an organisation?
Well,
you've got a team.
Yes.
Do you have to identify those qualities?
Well, in some really progressive organisations, we're actually now working with them to have people in teams working within their genius zone. What we're discovering is the expert zone is quite seductive because it feels like people are in their best space and they're not even stepping into the expert zone. So Jim Collins, on the Good to Great material, 25 years worth of study on how good organisations became great, said one of the key differences between the great organisations and everyone else recruits against a position. So they say, here's what we want, now who's available to fill it. The great organisations said first who, so who are the great people, and let's figure out what we're going to use them for against the genius zone, right? So if you...
totally by accident, but that's kind of how we do it.
Yeah.
Like here's an outstanding person. They're going to fit in really well. What can we give them?
Correct, but that is what the great organisations do. It's trickier around job descriptions, but systems built from a technical systems point of view often force people into their competence zone because it treats everyone the same, ignores the uniqueness.
So let me challenge that for a minute. I'm a supply chain director.
Yes.
I've got 100 people below me.
Yeah.
There are specific roles that have got to be
Sure.
filled. I can't just take people that are going to fit and are awesome and really intelligent because I've got 6 roles that I can't fill.
Correct. You have a legacy right now of the people
Yeah.
that you've got in your organisation, but all future recruitment, as those roles turn over, need to really be a lot more consciously aware.
So you've actually got to look at a lot more people to find the right
to
fit.
find the right people. And job descriptions are at task level. What if every job description had one little section added that said, what's the compelling and self-evident value of this role in 25 words or less that you need to bring to the organisation? And they're not allowed to use tasks to describe it.
No.
But the area where you can really apply this is in your internal projects for change.
Okay.
So the normal way we run projects is we get someone who kind of understands the subject matter, and we say, you're the project manager. Now, a project manager has to be able to catch the context of the project, be a bit of a problem solver and get people around the concept that's going to solve it. They've got to be able to go and sell the project to keep stakeholders engaged. They have to be a detailed person and be able to organise other people through a flow of work. And why do we think that's all inside one person's genius zone? Why wouldn't we look at a project and say, who's the best person to get out in front of people and sell it, present it, engage people? Who's the best detailed person to really keep this thing on track?
Traditionally, we always look for someone who's got all the qualities.
And they never do.
No, no one has.
They'll have some in their genius zone, the rest will be in their competence zone, and that's where it falls apart. So it's about, first who, and then what.
Makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of whatever function you're trying to manage in a business, we happen to be talking about supply chain.
Yes.
It's those, the really outstanding senior executives have that ability to recognise the right talent, get people in the right spots.
Totally.
And that's why you're on board to talk about this topic at Supply Chain Leaders Boardroom.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to have you.
Well, quick real life example, which is Richard Branson. He wanted to buy a bank.
Yep.
And he didn't know which bank, but he went and hired the best bank executive in England.
Yep.
And he said, you're going to head up my bank.
Yep.
And she said, what bank? He said, I don't know yet, that'll be your first job. Yeah. After you've recruited an executive team.
Yeah.
So recruit the other executives you need, I want the best.
Yep.
When we've got an executive team, then we'll find a bank.
We'll find a bank to buy.
And a bank became available, the government balked and said, no, we'll run it.
Yeah.
And then 18 months later they went back and said, we're messing this up, are you still interested? And he went, well, I've still got my executive team.
Yeah.
First who, and then what? And they've made a success out of it. It's a real paradigm shift. I find a lot of executives go, oh, but how would that work?
Yeah.
But if you think deeply about it, if you can find the space where you can step away from the pressures of the work role, and the Supply Chain Leaders Boardroom is a great way to do that, just step back and go, okay, I just really need to sit inside this concept for a little bit and think about how I could apply some of that, even in the improvement space. It's a really powerful shift.
There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that outstanding performance is all about the people.
Always about people.
So you want to learn how to manage people more effectively, select the right people for the right roles, you probably should come along to Supply Chain Leaders Boardroom, and we'll put details below. Thanks for watching.